I'm in Killarney, and this time joined by my sister and her dog Luna. For this 4-day, 3-night trip, we've put in at the George Lake Access, and we're staying on George Lake for night 1. Campsite number 4 at the end of the lake near the portage that leads into the direction of O.S.A. And O.S.A. Lake will be our destination lake for nights 2 and 3. We put in around 1 o'clock today, got to the campsite about an hour later, and since then we've just been setting up camp, basking in the sun on our beautiful beach at our campsite here, and then grabbed a quick nap because it's always long on the first day. And gosh, it's almost 6:30 now, so we'll be starting on dinner shortly and getting some kebabs on the barbecue for dinner tonight. But George Lake is an absolutely beautiful lake, completely surrounded on one side by the high granite cliffs that you're used to seeing here in Killarney, and the other side of the lake just covered in forest with, of course, rocky outcroppings all along the way. Just a lovely, lovely paddle so far, with the promise of more of the same starting tomorrow. All right, well, that's enough talking for now. Dinner and probably an early to bed tonight. Beautiful. Good morning on day 2, and it's coming up on 8 o'clock right now. And last night we were in bed by about 11 o'clock. Bugs were bad, spent most of the evening in the bug tent, and then later on around 10:30 when it got cooler, we did come down and enjoy the remainder of our dinner fire that was still smoldering in the pit, which was nice. But today's a moving day, and we need to get up and tear down camp, get breakfast going, coffee going, and then we're going to head east across George into the route that leads to O.S.A. Lake, and we'll be staying there for the next 2 nights. And so that's the plan. And we're not really in a hurry today, but we want to get going because we did have some rain last night, and it looks like the rain could pay us another visit today, but we'll have to see. All right, gonna get the dogs fed and start on breakfast. How's Luna doing up there?
Standing.
And we've just left the campsite number 4 on George, and we're heading across George east to the 50-meter portage that will take us on our way into O.S.A. Beautiful morning, bit of a breeze, sunny, hazy. I could see rain happening in the next 24 hours, but not in the next few hours. I'm liking this new canoe layout. I mean, it's quite high, but Mason's got a lot more room. Luna's got room at the front, and it doesn't feel tippy. Looks like that dock ahead's our portage, Tiff.
That's what I was saying.
We've made it to our campsite at the west end of O.S.A. Lake, and we're at campsite 64, which is an island site, and it's a fantastic site, like a 9 out of 10. I mean, there's swimming rocks, there's views, there's tent pads, there's 2 fire pits, one by the water, one up in the woods, and lots of spots to set up bug shelters, and just an incredible amount of room on this campsite. And on the south side of the lake, we're completely perimetered by high quartzite mountains, and on the east side it's just forest, like forest bursting out onto the lake, with just the odd bit of rock, you know, breaking on through the foliage. But for the most part, it's just green from, you know, north to south, or east to west rather. Tiffany's already crashed out in the tent. We had a long day getting here with the portages and the muddy portages, as well as the mosquitoes, which were quite relentless. So we got here, we had a beverage, and now it's time to grab a quick nap before starting on dinner later. Mason's crashed out right here in the bug shelter, and Luna has gone into the tent with Tiffany, but she was in here previously. So I think I'm going to hop in the tent now and grab a quick nap and get up in a couple hours and then start on our steak dinner. And of course, tomorrow we're still at the site for a full day. And then at the end of tomorrow, we'll head back, retracing our route from today back to the put-in. And that'll be our final and 4th day. So tomorrow will be a slack day, and we might explore the portage leading into the adjacent lake to the west of this site. But rain is in the forecast tomorrow, so it's also possible that we'll just huddle in the bug shelter and try to stay dry. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. And gosh, the lake just looks like broken glass with all the light shimmering. Just the sun setting now, and it's so bright on the eyes just to look out onto the lake with all the reflection. It's such a beautiful scene. All right, well, that's it for me. I'm going to hop in the tent right now, grab an hour worth of nap, and then get up and start on dinner. Well, we finished up dinner, and it was a bit of a late one for us. We got up from a nap around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then threw together dinner. And, you know, we were both really dehydrated, I think, from the day. And not really hungry, but you have to eat, and I skipped lunch again. But man, oh man, once those steaks went on the fire, and the peppers, and the asparagus, and the rice, wow! Just, you know, shoveled it back. But there was lots, and the dogs got some as well, which is great. And during dinner, we were treated by a visit from a pair of beavers. And, you know, I don't often see pairs together. But there they were, scooting across the campsite, checking things out, back and forth, and then watching the sun just paint these white quartzite hills behind us as it disappeared behind the horizon was just something else as well. But now the bugs are out in full force, and I'm heading into the bug tent with Mason, and Tiff and Luna are already up there living the bug-free life. So that's for me, and I'm heading off there now. Thanks for coming along on today. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, it is morning of day 3, mid-morning in fact. Was up fairly early this morning, rained all night, rained for most of the morning, and the bugs, wow. This is one of the buggier sites that I've stayed at, I have to say. And the rain this morning certainly didn't help, but around 9 or 10, the clouds just seem to have disappeared, and now we've got what appears to be mostly blue sky, which is amazing, because the forecast called for rain until 4 p.m. So we're split on what we're going to do today, whether we're going to venture out in the canoe or whether we're just going to poke around this island site and hang with the dogs. The deer flies that are on shift now, and the mosquitoes, well, they're still working. No black flies, but it's a little uncomfortable once you're outside of the bug tent, so I'm not sure how long we'll be playing outside the tent today. Anyway, hopefully we'll get some wind or some other type of weather that'll burn these bugs off so we can have a proper afternoon, but right now it's pretty thick with bugs. Anyway, I think it's time to get started on breakfast, and then after breakfast I wanted to explore this island and some of the opportunities, photographic opportunities in the background there. Lots of light coming through the trees and lots of interesting logs and stumps and what have you. We got our swim in, and you know, I should have started my day with that. That water temperature was just perfect. And you know, the ambient temperature has become quite warm around here, so I think we were both feeling pretty grimy from the paddle yesterday and bug juice and sunscreen and all the rest. So that swim was exactly what the doctor ordered. Fresh set of clothes, fresh set of unders, and yeah, just feel like $1,000,000. So the plan now is to head out into the canoe and head east on O.S.A. Lake, west on O.S.A. Lake, and tuck into a little bay to the south, see what's going on in there. And then I think we'll take O.S.A. right to its westward perimeter where the portage is to the adjacent lake. So that's the plan. Tiff's getting the dogs together, and it's my job to get the canoe ready. You know, it looks like that bay was impassable with those rocks. Since we can't access that bay to the south, let's keep heading west and see if we can't find that portage at the far end. Tiff, I think we should head back. Look at those clouds. Yeah, let's head back. We just got back from exploring the west end of the lake and some of the islands to the east of our campsite. And, you know, when we started out, it was sunny and warm with a light breeze, and now we've got thunder with increasing frequency. And so we rushed back to the campsite to get everything put away, and now we're just waiting for the rain, which is not in the forecast, but it looks like it's imminent, so. Yeah, and there's more thunder. Okay, I'm gonna go help Tiff close up camp. And here comes the rain. There has been a lot of active weather since we returned from our late afternoon canoe paddle. And it started with just light rain and maybe some distant thunder and some questionable clouds above some of the peaks over here. And then the rain came and it left, and then the wind picked up and we heard distant thunder. And then out of nowhere, it just poured rain for probably 4 minutes, and then nothing. And then 6 minutes of rolling, cracking thunder with fork lightning. And as all that was coming in, we got round 3, which was just pounding rain. And it lasted for maybe 10 minutes or so. And then we got sun, full-on sun. And about 10 minutes after that, I turned to my sister and I said, "Is that a plane? Can't be a plane. What is that sound?" That sound was the wall of rain from wave 4, which was by far the most impressive. And it lasted for a good 10 minutes, just a full-on drenching. And we were okay in the bug shelter, but we kind of had to go to the middle, you know, because we got the mesh on every side. But anyway, I think it's done. There's still some ominous looking clouds above the hills over here, but it feels like it's done. Feels like it could be done. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Tiff's just crashed out in the tent, and I'm going to start getting stuff ready for dinner tonight, which is a feast of craft dinner with tuna, cheese, red pepper, pepperoni, and maybe some salami. We'll have to see what's in the barrel. Anyway, that's the plan for tonight. Hopefully the rain holds off, and we we can spend our final night not chained up in the tent. It's actually turned into a really gorgeous evening. After those 4 stormy fronts went through, I wasn't sure if we were in store for a 5th or not, but the wind picked up, blew all those clouds out of the way, and now we've just got a setting sun right above the quartzite cliff behind me. And we just finished our dinner, which was a little smaller than usual because yours truly dumped half the craft dinner onto a bed of pine needles while draining the water. But rescued part of it, and we added to that our tuna, our pepperoni, our red pepper, some egg, some black pepper, and whatever else was in the blue barrel, and it was a magnificent meal, and we still had enough left over to give the dogs a bite, which was great. So now it's time for dishes and to tidy up camp and get ready for an earlier push off tomorrow. And if we can get our stuff done before the sun sets, and if the bugs stay at bay, I might head down to the water here and enjoy a cup of grape juice and watch the setting sun. Good morning. Just around 7 a.m. on Friday. And last night after dinner, we thought we'd try to have a small fire at the fire pit down by the beach here. And we lasted all of about 5 seconds. The bugs were so thick last night, they were just intolerable. So after failing on the fire, we headed back into the bug shelter, chilled out there for a couple hours, and then we were probably in the tent by around 11 p.m. or so, and had a terrific sleep. But I'll tell you, the sounds coming out of the forest last night, I don't know if they're frogs or birds or bats, but oh my goodness, it was just going on forever. It was actually almost comical the way they were shrieking back and forth with each other. And of course, the usual suspects like the owls, and it was just a very vocal night last night, which was amazing. But I have to say how much I've enjoyed visiting this lake. I've never been here, always heard things about it. These crystal clear waters, all the small islandscapes dotting particularly the west end of the lake, just for exploring and paddling around. And these quartzite bluffs and cliffs that surround the park make for just the most incredible echo chamber if you're lucky enough to be here during a thunderstorm as we were. But alas, it is now time to go home, and we like to pack up and get going before the wind comes up. But I am comforted by the blue sky and the sun that's just peeking out there now, especially after yesterday's very varied weather. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming along, and we hope to see you on the next one.